Let me start with something I say to just about every customer who's past 60 and thinking hard about a new car. Thoughtful. This might be the last vehicle you ever buy brand new, and once you say that out loud, it changes everything about how you should shop for it. You're not chasing the flashiest thing on the lot anymore. You're buying peace of mind for the next 10, 15 years. I've been turning wrenches for 22 years. I've had these hybrid SUVs up on my lift with the wheels off and the panels apart. I've seen which ones come back to me every few months with their hand out, and which ones I only ever see for an oil change and a friendly wave. Sarcastic. And I'm going to tell you the thing the shiny commercials never will. Most of the hybrid SUVs being pushed on you this year are not worth what they're asking for them. Pause. Out of everything sitting on dealer lots right now, 3 of them pass my test. Just 3. Not 10. Not the whole glossy brochure. 3. And here's the test, because I don't ever want you taking my word alone. 3 plain questions. Question 1. Will it last without nickel and diming you into an early grave? Question 2. Will it hold its value, so the money you spend isn't just gone the second you drive off the lot? And question 3, the one nobody our age ever gets told about, is it actually easy to live with? Can you see out of it? Can you get in and out of it without a fight? Are the buttons real buttons you can find by feel, or a touchscreen scavenger hunt while you're doing 40? I'm going to score every one of these against those 3 tests: longevity, money, and everyday living. And the one sitting at number 1, Toyota did something with it this year I have genuinely never watched them do in 22 years of working on their cars. We'll get there, and it's worth the wait. Let's start. Before we count them down, give me 90 seconds of straight talk about money, because this is exactly where good people get hurt. There's a study AAA puts out every single year called Your Driving Costs. The 2025 edition, which they released this past September, found that the average cost to own and operate a new vehicle in this country is now $11,577 a year, not the sticker price, per year. That's about $965 a month, every month, once you fold in depreciation, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and financing. And the single biggest slice of that number, bigger than gas, bigger than repairs, is depreciation. The car quietly bleeding value while it sits in your driveway doing nothing, better than $4,000 a year gone on the average vehicle. So here's why a hybrid and why now. Consumer Reports, in their reporting this year, found that most hybrids today earn back that little price premium in about 4 years or less. Their own fact sheet puts the lifetime savings for a typical hybrid at over $4,000 compared to the gasoline version of the very same car. And this is the part that matters most for folks who don't want drama in their lives. Their owner surveys show traditional hybrids actually have about 15% fewer problems than gas-only cars. Fewer problems means fewer trips to see somebody like me. That, right there, is the whole game. One more thing before we start, and it's important, so stay with me. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the IIHS, the folks who crash cars into walls so you don't have to, added a brand new test back in January of this year. It's a seat and head restraint test aimed at whiplash and neck injuries in rear-end crashes, and it genuinely shook up the ratings. Vehicles that were top-rated last year lost their awards this year. So when I talk about safety on each of these, I'm using the current 2026 numbers, not last year's window sticker. If you go shopping, look up the rating for the exact model year yourself on IIHS.org. Don't let anybody wave last year's trophy at you. All right, enough setup. Number 3, the 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Curious? Do me one favor first. Forget whatever you thought about Hyundai 20 or 30 years ago. That company is not the outfit that built those cheap, disposable little cars back in the day. Not even close. And the Tucson is the proof sitting right in front of us. Excited? Let's run it through the 3 tests. Start with the money, because this is where the Tucson lands its hardest punch. Hyundai just added 2 new front-wheel drive trims for 2026, and the weigh-in, the Blue SE, now starts at $32,200. That's straight from US News in their review last October. That makes it the most affordable front door on this entire list. And that blue SE, riding on its smaller 17-inch wheels, is rated by the EPA at 38 miles per gallon combined, the most efficient Tucson you can buy. Now here's the part I care about most for somebody who plans to keep a car a good long while: the warranty. Hyundai covers this vehicle with 5 years or 60,000 miles of basic coverage, and 10 years or 100,000 miles on the powertrain, the battery, and the hybrid components. 10 years on the expensive parts. A lot of its competitors give you exactly half of that. If you're buying a car you intend to hang on to, that warranty is thousands of dollars of protection you are not paying 1 cent extra for. And that's a real concrete answer to test number 1. Will it last without hurting you? Because even if something does go wrong, Hyundai is holding the bill for a full decade. Test 3. Everyday living. And this is where the Tucson quietly shines for our crowd. 2 things. First, Hyundai put the physical climate buttons and dials back into this generation. Reviewers noticed it, and I noticed it the second I sat in one. You can turn the heat up or change the fan by feel without taking your eyes off the road to go hunting through a menu. Second, and this matters more than the spec sheet lets on, this hybrid uses a genuine 6-speed automatic transmission, not the rubber band feeling CVT that most hybrids are stuck with. What does that mean for you, in plain English? It means when you press the gas to merge onto the highway, it responds like a normal car, and it shifts like a normal car. No droning, no rubbery disconnect between your foot and the road. 231 horsepower from a turbocharged engine and an electric motor pulling together. It just feels natural and calm. For a lot of people, that alone is worth the price of the ticket. Now, I promised you honesty, so here's where I have to be fair, because the Tucson is not perfect. Cars.com ran an 8-vehicle comparison of compact SUVs this year, and the Tucson Hybrid finished third. Good, but not the winner. Their judges liked it standing still and were a little let down once they really drove it. On that new IIHS whiplash test I just told you about, the 2026 Tucson scored poor. That's the one soft spot on an otherwise strong safety sheet, where it earns good marks in the main frontal and side crash tests. And I'll give you one more, because you'd want to know. Hyundai issued a recall this year on more than 96,000 Tucsons over a software glitch that could blank out the instrument panel, the screen behind the wheel. If you buy one, ask the dealer in writing to confirm the recall work has been completed. Get it in writing. Not a nod, not a sure, it's handled. In writing. So, who should still buy it? The person who wants the lowest price of entry on this list, the longest warranty in the group by a mile, real buttons under their fingers, and a hybrid that drives like a plain, honest, normal car. If that's you, the Tucson is a genuinely smart buy. Just walk in with your eyes open, knowing exactly what it is and what it isn't. Number 2. The 2026 Honda CR-V Hybrid. Curious. If you rounded up 10 mechanics and asked each of them to name a car they'd feel good putting their own mother in, I would bet you real money the CR-V lands on most of those lists. There's a reason for that. This thing is boringly, wonderfully dependable, and for the buyer who just wants to stop thinking about their car and get on with their life, that's about the highest compliment I know how to give a vehicle. Pause. 3 tests. Test 1. Longevity. Consumer Reports predicts the 2026 CR-V will be more reliable than the average new car. J.D. Power gives it an 83 out of 100 overall, and that score comes from actual owners, not a press office. And Kelley Blue Book's own owners rate this generation of the CR-V Hybrid a 4 out of 5 for reliability, above average. Size. This is a vehicle with a long, proven, unglamorous track record of just running and running and running. Test 2. The money. And this is the CR-V's quiet superpower. Depreciation. According to IC Cars data this year, the CR-V's 5-year depreciation lands in the low to mid 30% range, while the average SUV loses closer to 45% of its value over that same 5 years. Let that sink in for a second, because it's the kind of thing nobody explains to you in the showroom. When you go to sell or trade this car in 5 years, a much bigger slice of your money is still sitting there, waiting for you. On a vehicle costing north of $35,000, that gap is real folding money, often thousands of dollars, and it's money most buyers never once think to factor in when they're signing. Let's put the price and the mileage on the table so you know exactly what you're signing up for. The CR-V Hybrid starts with the sport trim at $35,630 before the destination charge, so figure right around $37,000 out the door. Front-wheel drive hybrids are rated 43 in the city, 36 on the highway, 40 combined. Add all-wheel drive for the snow, and you're at about 37 combined. And new for this year, Honda added a Trail Sport Hybrid, all-terrain tires, hill descent control, a beefed-up all-wheel drive system for the person who wants a little genuine dirt road capability without giving up the hybrid. That one runs about $40,200 with destination. Now the honest part. Test 3, Everyday Living, because the CR-V isn't flawless either, and you deserve both sides. 2 real cons. First, that hybrid transmission. Honda's system doesn't use normal gears, and when you get on the throttle hard, say you're climbing a long mountain grade with your foot in it, the engine revs up and just holds there, droning. One reviewer this year compared the sound to a kitchen blender, and honestly, that's fair. In normal around-town driving, you'll barely notice it. On a long climb, you will. Second, and I won't sugarcoat it, on the newest IIHS tests, the 2026 CR-V slipped from the top-tier safety award it held last year down to an acceptable overall crashworthiness rating. It is still a safe car. Honda has been a safety company for decades, but it is not the class safety leader this year, and you have every right to know that before you buy. And I'll be straight, it's priced a touch higher than some of its rivals too. So who should still buy the CR-V Hybrid? The person whose number one priority is a car that holds its value and simply does not break. If you plan to keep this thing for 10 or 15 years and you want the fewest possible surprises across all those miles, the CR-V has earned that trust the hard way. One dependable mile at a time. That's exactly why it's sitting right here at number 2. Number 1. The 2026 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Curious? Let me tell you why this one's at the very top, because it comes down to something Toyota did this year that genuinely caught me off guard. And I don't say that lightly about a company I've been working on for 2 decades. The RAV4 was already the best-selling vehicle in America. Not the best-selling SUV, the best-selling vehicle, period. When you're that far out in front, the safe, sensible move is to leave well enough alone. Instead, Toyota tore it right down to the studs and built an all-new 6th-generation truck from the ground up. Surprised, and they made a decision I have never once seen them make on their single most important product. They killed the gas-only version entirely. Every single 2026 RAV4 is now a hybrid. There is no gas-only model left to buy, not one trim, not anywhere. Excited? Let's run it through the 3 tests and watch how it clears all 3 of them. Test 1, Longevity. This is Toyota's 5th-generation hybrid system, and Toyota's hybrid technology has one of the longest, cleanest reliability records in the whole industry. The same basic engineering that's carried millions of Priuses and Camrys well past 200,000 miles without drama. If your number one fear in the world is a surprise repair bill, this is about as safe a bet as exists anywhere in a new car today. Test 2, the money, and here's the headline. The 2026 RAV4 Hybrid starts at $31,900 for the base front-wheel drive model, or $33,350 once you add the destination charge. And I want to be precise with you here, because you'll see this number spun both directions depending on who's talking. Yes, that's a couple thousand more than last year's cheapest gas RAV4, but last year's gas RAV4 doesn't exist anymore. Compared to last year's cheapest hybrid, this new one is priced right in line, maybe even a touch lower. You are getting a better, stronger, more efficient hybrid for hybrid money. On fuel, the front-wheel drive version earns an EPA-rated 47 city, 40 highway, 43 combined. Toyota's own early estimate was 44 combined, and the final government figure landed at 43 dots, still the top of this group of 3. Test 3, Everyday Living. And this is where the new RAV4 really earns the top spot for a safety-minded buyer. Every 2026 RAV4, every single trim, even the plain base model, comes standard with Toyota Safety Sense 4.0. That's the most advanced safety suite Toyota has ever put in any vehicle, and the RAV4 is the first car in the entire world to launch with it. It now watches for pedestrians, bicyclists, and new motorcyclists, and it adds a 3D panoramic camera that gives you a clean bird's-eye view of the whole vehicle when you're parking. And I'll say this plainly, if your neck doesn't swivel quite like it did at 40, that camera isn't a gimmick, it's a genuine gift. There's a standard 12.3-inch digital gauge display sitting right in your line of sight, and the power's up to 226 horsepower with front-wheel drive, 236 with all-wheel drive. Now, I would not be doing my job if I didn't hand you the two honest cautions here, and the first one can save you real money. This RAV4 is in ferocious demand, and Toyota has openly admitted they're struggling to keep enough of them on lots. When that happens, some dealers slap a market adjustment on the window, $2,000–$3,000 above sticker. Hear me clearly on this one. This car is worth every penny of its real price. It is not worth a single nickel over it. If a dealer slides a purchase agreement in front of you with a market adjustment line on it, you stand up, you thank them kindly for their time, and you walk out the door. Inventory is normalizing. The deal will be there next month without the markup, and nobody gets to rush you on your own money. Second caution, and this one's about you specifically. This is a brand new, ground-up redesign running brand new software. Toyota calls the platform Arene, with big new screens. First-year redesigns can carry first-year software quirks, and if you're not a screen person, there is a real learning curve here. If a simpler, more familiar dashboard matters more to you than having the very latest technology, that's an honest point in the CR-V's or the Tucson's favor, and I'd never talk you out of it. Do yourself a favor and sit in all three before you sign a thing. But when you add it all up, the most efficient one here, the strongest reliability reputation in the business, the most advanced standard safety gear on the list, an entire lineup that's hybrid only, and Toyota charging plain hybrid prices for all of it, the RAV4 clears all three of my tests more convincingly than anything else on the lot, and that is why it's number one.
So there they are. The only three hybrid SUVs I'd look my own family in the eye and tell them are worth the money this year. The Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, for the buyer who wants the lowest price in, the longest warranty by a mile, real physical buttons under their fingers, and a hybrid that drives like a plain, normal car. The Honda CR-V Hybrid, for the buyer whose whole priority is a vehicle that holds its value and flat-out refuses to break. And the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid at number one, because Toyota did something rare. They took their most important vehicle, made every last version a hybrid, made it the most efficient and best equipped in the class, and then charged you a fair price for it. Here's what I'll leave you with, and I'd honestly like to know. When you close your eyes and picture the next few years, this car in your driveway, the trips you're actually going to take in it, the grandkids you're going to haul around in it, which of these three feels like the right fit for your life? And if you've already owned one of these, I really do want to hear how it's treated you, because your real-world experience out there is worth more than any spec sheet, mine included. Tell me down below. I read them, and I answer them. Whatever you land on, take your time, sit in all three, and don't ever let a soul rush you into signing. This is your money and your peace of mind we're talking about. Make them earn it.